Hey, Phil, is that you?
God, I hope so.
Okay. What do you do, change radios, mics, or what?
I'm on the Ranger. I may fire up one of the other ones. I could use the Cobra or the Messenger.
Well, your Ranger's working fine. Leave it alone.
I've slowly got everything else back online.
Okay.
I'm going back to sleep. Hello, Internet. They must call that a five-star retirement home.
It's working.
It's working. KB6 GFT.
AK6 WRW. Yep, definitely working.
Is this working?
Yes, sir. Working.
It's working.
Working. And not in a cold mine.
Still working. Just don't work overtime. They don't like paying that OT.
All right, good. Let's see if this actually works.
You may not find us on your TV, because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
Brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
Brought to you by RADI.
The Old Tube Radio Network.
All right, I would say that part of it is working. And as we say, hello, radio, the Old Tube Radio Network on the air once again. It must be Saturday evening somewhere. It is certainly Saturday evening here in the Central Valley of California, where the skip has gone away. We were listening to Australia check in and out about an hour ago, but it is quiet now. Albeit for the tube radios that are about to key up after we get done with our roll call. My name is Dennis, one of the net controllers for the Old Tube Radio Network that has been gathering tube radio check-ins every Saturday since about 1986 or so, and we are doing it yet again tonight. So thanks for joining us, whether you are at oldtuberadio.net, oldtuberadio.com, perhaps you are joining us on the video, or maybe you are out at 27085 in the RF zone ready to check in a radio, and that is a good thing. Before I go too far here, I want to, it is our new 8-week roster, so I want to get our new 00 from those that had perfect attendance from last week. And, oh, he said it's right here. Thank you. The little item of interest, if I open it up, is supposed to have all the entries. What is this? Somebody left their twist tie in there. All the entries of people with perfect attendance. So I will see if I can grab 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. If I can get them, I only need 1. So let me see if I can undo them all. All right. We have one here, and as they say on the Academy Awards, and the winner is, it's SWL10. Chrissy is our item of interest, our 00 tonight, so I'll put that up there so I won't forget. And are there jumping dolphins? If not, I will make sure that there are somewhere tonight. Well, Dwayne is there, so I bet Chrissy is there as well. Chrissy, you are a new 00. Over. Get my marking pen in there, so that's 10. So thanks for joining us. As always, wherever you might be, also get, let's see, 00, SWL1, the cosmic check-in for Dr. J. Okay, is the internet working? My internet is slow again tonight. SWL2, Mr. OBP is out there tonight, saying that where the sunspot numbers are. The skip has been good, but I think tonight we may not have the short skip, but we will see. I think it was pretty quiet on the Ditch Banks sideband net last night, but if you're on the video side, say hello to SWL2, Mr. OBP, the Ocean Beach Pearl, where it is always 9 pounds of good modulation as you check in. SWL3, SWL4, and it's been a long day. I did not have a chance. I got in late. I did not have a chance to get on Old Radio Night tonight, but we'll head over that way shortly and see what JT is up to or was up to. SWL5. Mr. Rainmaker in the Hudson Valley is probably out there. He might still be hanging out over at Old Radio Night. Before I go any further, let me see, are there any people that would like to do an early check-in? They're pointing at me, saying, you didn't do the early check-ins. All right, anybody need an early check-in to get in and out? Over.
24 checking in.
I think you had one on 2 meters, too.
All right, Joseph, I've got you early checked in on... And then we have one on the crossband. Hello, radio. Hey, Tony, I will get you checked in. You're sounding good. KB6GFD. All right, who is that? That is out of town. Over. Okay, I will get Tom checked in as well. Thanks. KB6GFD. In the break OTR, go ahead.
Yeah, 61, Dennis. I'm going to head from the house to the garage. If I hear you when you call me, I'll check in again if I can get back to you.
All right, sounds like a good thing. It's starting to get cold again. The clouds went away and it got cold, so I don't blame it. SWL 61, Dino, we got you checked in. Over.
Thanks, Dennis.
And also, I will get 113, that is Tom, and 140, I think it's 145, I don't want to do the wrong thing. Yeah, 145, Tony from the crossband. I will also go up a couple more and get 147, and that is Neil. I see you on the screen, checking in from Kakalaki, good conditions and fairly mild weather. Well, are you guys getting soaked in the valley, or is it more of a coastal thing? It's more of a coastal thing. That's the quote-unquote atmospheric river. I'll say that once. Where they can get 3 inches, and we will get half an inch here, although there is more expected tomorrow and Monday, so we're going to be adding to that, and they're saying it's supposed to be a little bit more wet than it was, but we're coming up to normal, so nothing bad going on here at the moment, at least in the flatlands in the central valley part. Any other stations needing a check-in? Over.
Dennis, get 650.
650. I will make sure that he is checked in as well. Thanks. The direct-to-net roll call. We are on week 1 of this new 8-week period. Chrissy is our 00 and doing a good job of it. She is right out there in front, directing everybody, making sure that everybody is who wants to get checked in tonight will get checked in. Let's go to SWL 7.
Number 7, checking in.
All right, sounding good. I am putting the X. I'm making the official X in the square. All right, I put a square in the X, but that's wrong. It's an X in the square. Got it.
Thank you.
Then we're heading over to SWL 10. We checked you in, and we'll check you in again. You've got the 2-for-1 coupon for the next 8 weeks coming up. Speaking of coming up, SWL 11 and 12, the ever-popular Mr. Cornbread and the even more popular Dapper Dan, 11 and 12, checking in. Looking dapper, feeling dapper, and keeping a low profile. Well, you know how it is. If you're too dapper, people want your autograph. They'll follow you around. Which leads me to believe that's probably why I never have to sign autographs. Maybe I'll try straightening my tie. Thank you, Dan and Dan, for checking in. Over to SWL 13. And I will keep an eye out at oldtuberadio.net and all those places where one might be able to check in, where they too want to check in. Let's head out. I know the station's out there. I talked to him earlier, and he sounded good. SWL 14 out in Sangertown.
Yeah, howdy, Dennis. SWL 14 checking in.
SWL 14, and I see a portent of possible radioactivity to come. So keep it warmed up. It's sounding good, and we've got you checked in.
Yeah, thanks. Looking forward to it.
As am I. Let's see. Let me get, as they show up on the screen here, I will get to people checked in so I don't forget. One would be SWL 78 out there in Wild Wildemar. Richard, I see you. And is it wild and cold as well? Yeah, very chilly. Get some, the clouds go away and the wind comes up, and those things do happen. Directed Net Roll Call is where we are at on the old Tube Radio Network. We will have the Tube radios coming up soon. Want to say hello to Rob out there in Woodland Park, up in the high altitudes. Checking in, 14 inches of fresh snow. I guess they were talking about Juneau, Alaska, getting their 5 or 6 feet, setting a new record. I'm not sure. I would think 14 inches of fresh snow is a lot, but it may not be a record. No short skip tonight, but always listening. And let's see, do I have the picture? Yeah, let's go to, if I can find the right thing, let's go up the hill and take a look at some of the station there, or their station that is beaconing, always beaconing to the west for the old Tube Radio Network. And it's an apropos picture. There's a little bit of snow going on there, a little bit of sun, and frost on the guy wires, also the driven elements as well. So, Rob, it looks good, and I guess you're used to a little bit of snow, or maybe even a lot of bit of snow by now. But thanks for joining us, and hopefully we can beacon a signal out that way. Let's go to SWL 15. Got to get back to my roll call list here. It is buried underneath one of the windows. And I am looking. I don't know if I'll get a proxy check in for Hans right now. Maybe. It's still a bit early in Denmark to be checking in, but we'll see what we got. Another early check-in for Mr. BDA, Brown Dog Audio, SWL 57, just in case. Just in case it gets late and we don't have a loud radio or two to keep you awake out there in central Kentucky. All right. 57, you are checked in. But we'll see if we can't keep you awake tonight. Over to shortwave listener 16. Charlie is here. Good to have you back in the air chair tonight. And I see your test. Your test is working good. We've got the little test loop up around. So no matter where you are in the studio tonight, the green room outside, I think you can pick up the microphonium, whoever you might be or whatever, and get a check-in and say hello radio. All right, well, I hope that those tower and antenna changes are good stuff. I am hoping to do some tower and antenna installations, so I can put up a picture like that. Won't be quite like Rob has, but maybe we'll be able to be heard a little bit better on the Old Tube Radio Network. Let's go to, and thank you, Charles, for checking in. SWL 17. SWL 18. I got Mr. KDA checked in from Facebook. SWL 19, Chet is here with the cue cards, looking good tonight, and he is saying did we run out of pens? He says we don't have a pen tonight for the check. Well, you know what I can do? All right. Yeah, he suggested I put a greenie in. Do I already have one? No, it's missing. Where did this come from? You borrowed it. Well, thanks for borrowing. Thanks for giving it back. We'll put it in now. We'll save a little time, and we'll put in this is a true, where's the close-up camera? All good techs know what a greenie is. You got to have one. Here it is. You got to have one in your pocket protector. This is the slotted. I think there's a red and a blue. One's a Phillips, and I don't know. The other one's I don't know. But there it is. Greenie will go in the pocket protector tonight. And yes, I can say try not to injure yourself for doing it. I will be good. Let's go over to SWL 20.
Now, number 20 here. Please check me in 29 and 54. And I'm going to hold off on another person because I think he's attempting to check in, but so I'll wait. And if he doesn't, then I will check him in. So we will see you later tonight.
All right. Well, I will be here later tonight. I guess I got to be transmitting. We will be here later tonight till 10 o'clock or so. So you can check in anytime. People can check in anytime. The OTR, the door is always open to get in with check-ins or tubes. The Echolink link is up. The crossband link is up. I had some reconfigurations of audio, but I think, you know what, while I'm here, I think everything is A-OK. There's the Orban meter. That looks about right for the audio LUKFS, or whatever they call it. The REA meter is my output into the antenna, out of the transmitter. Negative peaks, positive peaks look pretty good, so we're okay there. A little background noise, so we're doing good. All right, Harvey, you are doing it. I spent 2 hours. It took me 2 hours to unload, as it were. So I am definitely feeling it.
Well, it took about that long for you to get loaded, so stands to reason.
All right, very good. Thanks for checking in. We'll be back with you in a little bit. I wanted to take a quick check-in and say, oh, there's Hans. Well, how did I miss you? I thought you weren't there. Let's put the X in the square. The official X in the square for 15. SWL 15 as the sun comes up. Who else? I wanted to say hello to a couple other stations. Diddy Bopper, hello radio. Thanks for joining us on your Old Tube Radio Network. United Delta X-Ray 183. That's a good question about Captain Robert. And I know he hasn't stopped by here in a couple of weeks. So hopefully we'll see him tonight, or we will have some word on how things are going there tonight. Dave, hearing Hawaii on Channel 11 here in Australia on his IC 7300. We were hearing you guys just before, after our gray line. You were the last ones. We weren't even hearing the mini grass, but Australia was coming through. Dave out there on the 7300. That's a great AM radio. That's a great sideband radio. That's great all-around radio. So if the band opens back up, give us a shout. Hello to Colo Radio, saying 73 to all the stations out here on the Old Tube Radio Network tonight. Mudbucket, UDX 483. Joining us on the Old Tube Radio Network tonight. And Jose, I haven't seen Jose in a while. Says he needs a 663 filter. I'm not even sure what is a 663 filter. I should know that, and you need one. So hopefully there is one available somewhere that's in good shape that will work. Peter, Albert, we will try for you guys at the end of the program. That was great last week. You guys were coming through perfectly. So we'll see what happens. It looks like the system is up and running right now. So we'll make sure that we'll give a shot to that. Let's see. Steve is trying to fix another 2000 GTL. Well, just put a speaker on either side, and if you don't fix it, it'll look cool. Hello to Ken. Also, Brooklyn Ruiz from New York City. Firebird 455. You got to have the 455. Guess you could have the 400 maybe, but the 455 is always a good thing. All right, we'll continue with the roll call, but I want to say hello to some of the stations stopping by tonight. G. Mopar, Southern California 076 in SoCal, Wayland. Where are you at in SoCal? Are you down San Diego way, or up near Long Beach way, or maybe you're up in the hills, like Riverside, that area? Let us know. I'm a Southern California guy myself. Oh, okay. I see why Hans is there. She's trying to not catch a cold. And the Courier 1M. All right. Well, you know where we're going? Let's go to SWL 21, so I can stop talking and get some check-ins here tonight. And I will go over to Old Radio Night. I had them fired up. Let's bring up some audio from Old Radio 9. I know we're going to get into another feedback loop, so we'll try not to do that tonight. But there, it is the Courier 1M. Here's the radio. We have those check in occasionally here on the Old Tube Radio Network. There is the Courier 1M. So when you hear the acknowledgement to JT, just jump on in and get everybody checked in. 21 and everybody else. But the Courier 1M is looking nice, a cool radio. And there's the Courier logo. And we should be hearing Mr. JT in a moment with his check-ins. 21 et al., I think is the way they say it. The Old Tube Radio Network, Fresno, California. Okay, here it is. He's coming up. And hello to Middletown, Ohio, Shinston, West Virginia, up in the balcony joining us tonight, and Boredom, Oregon. We got a lot of stations that listen in Oregon, so welcome tonight. And here comes Mr. JT. The Portal Lab, he's ready to go. And that's the Courier, so he's got all the accessories for that 1M.
All right, 21, SWL 21 in South Carolina. 21, we're standing by. Go ahead, Jed.
South Carolina, checking in.
There's South Carolina.
And Roger.
You got all the crew coming in tonight. Sort of our coast to coast, the Old Tube of coast to coast here, check-ins. All right, thank you, JT, and all the gang out there on Old Radio Night. Always looking and sounding good. Thanks for joining us. Direct net roll call. SWL 22. I did not see Tyler. He's probably frozen up there. I'll let it snow in Juneau, and he's farther, way farther north than that. So I'll get him checked in. He may stop by a little bit later. SWL 23. The 23 Skidoo has skedaddled, it appears. Back to the list. SWL 24 checked in moments ago. SWL 25 is out on the musical circuit. I heard him last night and Wednesday night. So I'll get 25 and 74 checked in. SWL 27. Sometimes 27 sneaks in the crossband. SWL 28, Gary, out there in Sacramento. You guys are getting your fair share of the rain as well, I think. I'm going to get a proxy check-in for Mr. Loner, SWL 29, and of course Dwayne is out there playing second fiddle tonight to 00, and 10 and 00, but 30 we've got you checked in. Let's go. SWL, we'll jump over to 33. That is myself and Bozo Control, the Baker Oscar Zulu Oscar with the honking proboscis. Over to SWL 34, Jimmy Fiedler and Captain Chaos and the whole group over there near Chicago, and taking time out from the keyboard to jump in and say hello, radio. Let's see if we can bring out the less than stellar train whistle. All right, and I didn't blow up the compressors there. That's working okay. Jimmy is checked in and looking good doing it. Thanks for joining us tonight, and thanks for all the effort on keeping radio and CB and the railroads alive on Facebook for all people to jump in and join in. From a real snowy, chilly Cheyenne, Wyoming, we're getting a hello radio from Mr. Bill, Red Monkey Communications, listening in tonight. So hopefully you're not getting deluged with the snow or any of those wacky, super minus temperatures like they're getting up in Alaska. So thanks for connecting the coax. Okay, who else is in? 103. I see 103 is there, 111. We will get you guys. I'm just looking to see who is checking in on the other page. Not a problem. SWL 36. Shortwave listener 37. Did I hear 37 in early? I would give 37 a proxy, but I bet he will come in a little bit later and get the big X in the square.
What about right now?
Right now is a good time, over.
And under. Good evening, Dennis, SWL 37.
All right, 37, you're sounding good, and thanks for joining us tonight. Over.
Yeah, I was in there watching the old boob tube, and I thought I heard you say my number. I wasn't for sure, so I come running.
Ah, and you did not trip on anything. You keyed the microphonium, and you are right on time.
All right, thank you, Dennis.
All right, thanks for stopping by. Hello, 28. Gary, I see you up there, hunkering down from the storm. Generator, flashlights, firewood, RC, and his green old tube radio. And you know what you need also? And I have added them to my little package, some Tootsie Rolls. You got to do something with the wrapper, the paper. But other than that, it's a good thing to have when there's no power. Just don't have to worry about that. So add that to the RC Cola. That'll probably be a yummy thing. 37 is checked in up to Byron, where they probably got more rain than we did in Fresno. Sam is listening, trying to check in. SWL 38. You are checked in, by the way. North Carolina, Man Cave Studios is joining us tonight on the video. Thanks for stopping by. SWL 39. SWL 40.
SWL40 checking in. And you guys lower your antennas because the storm is coming in.
All right, well, is it going to be, I heard that it may be a little bit more intense than the one we had.
Yeah, it's going to be more intense. Problem is that they're talking that it may stall and just sit on us and just rain.
Oh, well, that would not be the first time that has happened. It's been a while, but we'll see what happens. We're not over soaked just yet, not like last year, but hopefully it doesn't get crazy. All right, but you are checked in. The old tube radio network. Who was talking about? Have we ever had Dots gumdrops? We have them here. Where's the picture? We have them here. There they are. They're in the vending machine over in the green room. So put in your dime. Bring your change to the vending machine in the green room and grab yourself some Dots. Maybe we'll open it up. Maybe on Saturdays we should, make it so you can get as many, get a free package or something. That's courtesy of the Old Tube Radio Network. That would be good. 40 is checked in. Over to SWL 41. Road Dog 507 is right here. As a Motor Mouth Mall would say, right here, right now. Checking in the Tri-County React, Hudson Valley, New York. Giving a good hello and a good evening to everyone. Thank you, 507. Over to SWL 42. Let's see, I got a note to get a proxy for Mr. KW, which I will. We've got a proxy also for Crazy Eddie. Now, this station was big and loud last night on the Ditch Banks net on sideband and listening in. Maybe tonight, SWL 44. 44 checking in. I hear you, no problem. The rain has washed a little path down the hill and into Fresno, and you're right here. So sounding good, thanks. Mr. 360 up there in the hills away where he can, when there's not a lot of skip, as he can hear us here, but when Australia, Hawaii, North Carolina, South Carolina, Oregon, Washington are up there, he'll be hearing them before he can hear any of the valley stations. Let's go over to SWL 45. Waving a hand to Paul and Kelly. If you guys are listening, yeah, more storms, so hopefully you've got everything hunkered in and dialed up and covered up, and the firewood is in the dry spot. Thanks for listening in. And then we skip over to SWL 47. I can't believe he would be out on the motorcycle or doing any type of traveling tonight, but you never know. SWL at 48. Sammy, we're getting Sam checked in, Mr. KP. Also got a note to get Sweet Country Mama and Smitty checked in, 49. SWL 50. SWL 51.
SWL 51, checking in.
All right, the modulation meter says it's time to key down from Sangertown 305. Hey, Dave, you're sounding good as always, and I've got you checked in.
10-4, Dennis. Have a good evening.
Hello to, aloha, I should say, to JB and the gang out that way. I was testing out. I was on 40 meters last night. I had 2 minutes I needed to check something. I couldn't hit any of the repeaters or any of the SDRs in the States at all with any type of a good thing. I checked into the one in Hawaii, and I was able to get in with about 20 watts. So the 200 miles weren't working, but the 2,000 mile was working, and the vertical antenna was better than the wire. which is usually not the case locally. So everything was the way it should be. The vertical antenna doing the long distance stuff, and the band was super long into Hawaii. This is probably about 10:30 last night. So let's go over to SW. Here's a guy who can hit not only Hawaii, but just about any D expedition that's out there. SWL 52.
Yeah, good evening, Dennis, and all the SWLs out there on the airwaves. SWL 52 behind the golden microphone. And I will, here very shortly, have an awesome center-fed dipole up for 40 and 20, and I will be harassing more stations on the lower band.
Ah, good deal. All right, well, look to hear you jumping in when we least expect it.
Oh, Roger. Yeah, I will come find you on 40 meters. We'll catch you later, Dennis.
All right, yeah, just look for that, what do they call it, mud duck signaling. We should find it. 40 meters is going to be fun because we're at that point where we're far enough away where it can actually be ground wave and it can be a bit of sky wave at the same time. It does weird stuff. Maybe you're still too close. You really got to be about 6 to 9 miles away, then it starts acting strange. So, all right, good deal. You can never have too many antennas. End of the page, SWL 53, Mr. Bel Air.
Yeah, good evening there, Dennis. Bel Air the Legend 53 checking in.
Hey, Bob, it's always good to hear you. You've got a great signal tonight, as always, and we put the X in the square.
Temporary, I'm on the mobile, and a barefooted radio, and have a good night there, Dennis.
Oh, all right. You must be close by. I can put in a good signal on the mobile, so it is not raining out there yet. So drive safely and get home to where it's nice and warm. And, gee, thanks for remembering us on the mobile radio.
Thank you. Good night.
Mobile radio check-in. We've had mobile tube radio check-ins many a time. SWL 54. We've got a proxy in for 54. Let's head up the hill where it could be snowing tomorrow. SWL 55.
Crap, I grabbed the wrong mic. Thanks, Dennis, checking me in. And can you proxy Eric, please?
All right, up there near Shaver. Sounding good, and I will get Eric checked in here in a few moments. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
The old Tube Radio Network, real radio's glowing in the dark. If you're tuning in or watching or whatever, this is something we do every Saturday from 8 to 10 p.m. Pacific time. We are here in Central California, and we stand by and talk to the classic tube radios from 1958 when Class D opened up to about 1978 when they just stopped making them for whatever reason. But they are still around. They're well built, well made, like an old car with fins and chrome. The tube radios of your Citizen Band Class D service reign true on a Saturday evening. Stay tuned, and they will be driving by your speaker shortly. We're doing the directed net roll call. Don't have to be on any paper. You don't have to have any special numbers. No special hats, no crazy handshake. Just join us on the air at channel 1127-085 or oldtuberadio.net or some way, by hook or by crook, and say hello radio. We are looking for SWL 56.
Good evening, Dennis and Nanette. I'm hooking and crooking.
Sounding good, doing it from down the road. They're doing good. Hopefully we'll get a little more rain, but not too much. Let's go to SWL 57. 57 was in, right, Mr. BDA earlier. Had to check in, so I will get Central Kentucky with the X. Looks like I already got the X in there. That's why I did. Let's go to SWL 58. I go to put the X, it's already there. I think Jeremy got a proxy check-in on the ditch banks net, so that's good enough for us. We'll do likewise here on a Saturday evening.
KK6WRW, crossbound check-in, SWL 79.
All right, there is 79 on the crossbound check-in. Let's Let's get a crossband check in. You are sounding good AM, FM, and likewise. We got you checked in. KB6 GFD.
Sir, KK6, WRW.
All right, 79. We'll get to DC checked in. X in the square for Phil. And then I was checking in live from his performance on Old Radio Night, SWL 59. Uncle Hairball is in. He was in a little bit earlier on my screen. And who was it that said 100 watts? That is true, 100 watts and a Starduster. And the center element is still in. The little spacers are starting to crack off and break, but the radials and the radiating element, because it's only a quarter wave. A Starduster is just a quarter wave antenna. It works quite well. It's really made because of that angle and how it changes the impedance, I guess. It's actually a very good antenna. It gets very high ratings, even though you would think it's the little antenna that could. But 100 watts through that would help out as well. But we've talked to Idaho and all the gang with the Starduster here. Let's go over to SWL 60. Hello, Joe.
Hello, Dennis, and hello, everyone out there. SWL 60 checking in on the 291 base.
291. Sounded good audio in Big Sickland tonight. And the 291, he's in. He's up here on the 60. Jake, the DX 2527, and all the radios from that collection. So got a check in and a check in.
Thank you, Dennis.
SWL 61 checked in earlier, perhaps by the microphonium, but if not, we're good to go.
61 checking in, Dennis.
All right, even loud. He must have went outside and cranked his antenna up just a little bit higher, just because he could. You're sounding good, Dino.
Thank you, sir.
Don't crank it up too high and fall over. SWL 62. Shortwave listener 63. And Richie Foxman 362 is checking in from Rockwood, Tennessee, where the weather's always good, right? In Rockwood, got a check-in tonight with Smoky Mountain Skip Chasers, doing roll call. Checked in around 8 p.m. That would be our time, about 6 p.m. And I'm not sure what channel they're on, but they're in the East Tennessee CB Radio Club. Oh, channel 26, right there on 27, 265 megahertz, and they do a radio check-in once in a while. I'll have to listen in, because at that time, and it's getting later, Skip could be in, might be able to hear the guys checking in. I would think they'd have some. Well, it's 8 o'clock for them, so the Skip is probably off. It's interesting. I'll have to listen in for that. That sounds interesting. Let's go over to SWL 64. And Travis is saying, do you use a foot pedal? Well, I did, and then it broke, and then I didn't. I used to use the J38 key with this here, and then I needed to grow like a third arm. And so I sort of reconnected the foot pedal, and that's why you see me doing the contortions here, because it doesn't work all that well. It slips around, and the spring is not quite right, but it works. It keys the radio. So I'm not Ringo Starr with the drummer thing here, but I can occasionally hit the foot pedal at the right time. SWL 64, Craig is in. I think he was the first one on the video tonight. Checking in from Wisconsin. Hello, Craig. SWL 64 with an X on the square. I can't remember. I think he needed an early check-in, but he checked in nonetheless. From the UK, Fibro Dad. Hello. That's earlier for you guys, right? We're +8. Was it 6 in the morning, 5 in the morning? The sun is just coming up, maybe. Unless there's fog. We are here in the west coast of the U.S., doing what we do on a Saturday evening. checking in some stations, and we're going to be talking with and talking about the tube radios. So if you can stick around or leave the audio up, the video up, or however you're doing it, we will definitely have something to show you. SWL 65, Mr. Marshmallow Eric, we've got checked in. SWL 66. Had an Oregon station in earlier. Could that be Bill in Canby, SWL 67? I will get you checked in. Bill, if you're listening, if the Universal Media NetWeb is working for you tonight, got you checked in. Who's joining us up in the balcony? Middleton, Ohio, the unknown SWL. Well, you know who you are. Hello to Paradise, California. Right up in front. We've got Derby, New York. We are going to SWL 69. SWL 68. I'm going to get Michael checked in, and then over to SWL 69. Kenny. I don't recall seeing Kenny in earlier. That doesn't mean he wasn't there, and that doesn't mean he's not watching right now on the replay saying, check me in, would you? And I said, we'll do that. From beautiful Tulsa, Oklahoma. Next thing we're going to do, if we ever do it, will be SWL 70. Then SWL 71. Let me refresh my page. I have not been super busy, so I've not been able to get on and see what is going on with contesting on the bands. Stan out of Dallas, Georgia might be giving some tests if he's not doing the contesting thing, so we'll get Stan checked in. Also, Michael, Mr. Cobra, 13 is there, and you are correct, 146550. My antenna, I will warn you that right now my antenna is still low in a tree, and the stations that are due west and a little north are right in the path of a couple of trees, so sometimes it's hard for them to make it through my squelch. So don't feel that if you're trying to do the crossband, don't feel like I'm ignoring you. It's probably because of my yet another lousy setup here, but we'll get you checked in. And yeah, that is the crossband frequency. Let's go over to SWL 72. Shortwave listener 73. I have a check-in for Mr. M.I. I heard him on 2 meters not too long ago. SWL 74 with a proxy check-in. SWL 75. Shortwave listener 76 from Johnson, Rhode Island. Where is the Rhode Island station? SWL 77. A note to get a check-in for 1017, which I will do. SWL 78 from Wild Wildemar checked in a little bit early because it was chilly. SWL 79 checked in moments ago on the crossband. Joining us from soon-to-be snowy, I think, or rainy and snowy and sleety, Lake Almanor. Codename Victor Oscar Delta Oscar. Said he's rattling the windows in Lake Almanor. Well, when I talked to you, Mark, I ended up having to do all sorts of patching and trickery, so I have the ISO box in, but I also had to run the board because I forgot there's left and right channels, and they're not mixed unless I go through the TRS plug, and I didn't have the right flavor of Gozindas and Gazautas, and I think there's some type of phasing. If I turn the gain control, it changes things, so I kind of kludged it all together and then tried to get all the levels set. So I am definitely going to need to map out how to do this properly, and then maybe have a little plug-in like, okay, you're on AM, you're on FM, you're on sideband, you're on ham, you're on CB, and just have my plugs ready to go. But the true stars, as you know, are the tube radios. Those are the things that sound the best, and they will be coming up Thanks for joining us, and thanks for checking in. $47.99 on sale. I mean, you come back tomorrow, it's going to be $4,800. So get it now. Let's go to SWL 80. Then we're going to be turning the page. And of course, as we say at this time in our net, don't forget to feed the fish, or whatever is around you that maybe needs a treat or two. Shake the old treat dish, and make sure you notice we don't overfeed the fish, but don't forget to feed the fish. As Bob and Steve would say. Over to page 4, SWL 81, SWL 82. I'm going to get Ron checked in. Mr. Bones, the purveyor and host of most times of the Ditch Banks sideband net on Friday evening right here in the Central Valley. You can tune it in at 27,365. That's 36 lower, and occasionally on the K6USY YouTube page there will be a live stream. We encourage you to join us there. Get in the chat room and say hello radio if there's no conditions on the Ditch Banks sideband. And let's go to SWL 83. SWL 84. Jerry checks in on the noontime Jefferson net with his glorious old tube radio Swan. Big signal and nice audio, so we'll get to 84, 86, 87, and 88. Cherry's Kid, Mountain Maid, Tandy Girl, and a Snowy Owl all checked in tonight. Then we head over to, way out and over there to, let's see, SWL 90. And then Felix is probably around somewhere. There is right now, saying hello to all the SWLs and old tube radio operators. SWL 91, beaconing worldwide here at oldtuberadio.net. You just never know who might be listening in, when or where. 777 Jimmy, SWL 93. And where? Hello. All of a sudden seemed like there was a big echo. An echo. I guess an echo is okay if you're on 11 meters. Let's go to 95. I think that's Florida. Hello, Warthog 95. I've got to keep an eye on behind me, make sure there's no fires. I did remember to turn the radio on prior to my turning this radio on, so I have a little background good stuff there. Mr. Prunepicker, SWL 96, asked for a check-in last night. So if you're out there, Dennis, listening, we're getting you checked in now. Over. And Mark, I don't know. Wait till I'm going to be busy again tomorrow, but if we could get on 40 meters during the day, I want to do some testing. I want to hear your new Bellari, the Voodoo Eyes. I want to hear the total Voodoo rack. Got to listen in direct and over that. I'm thinking you might not need to do anything, and I'm sure that when you hear me, I'll have something broken. It'll be a good 24 hours, and it won't sound anything like you thought it sounded today. We'll see. Let's go to where are we? Oh, hey, there's Sam. SWL 38 running a little late. No problem. It could just be a very long internet. They put extra wire in. That's why it takes it. There's a big extra loop of wire between here and Byron. We got you checked in. Let's see. Where are we going? Oh, we want to go to 96, 97, Boston 97. Hello, Jim, if you are out there. What's the weather like in Boston? You guys probably getting snow? It should be the snow time of year. SWL 98. I see Tracy. I'll put the X in the square. Tracy is joining us from near and far out. I wish I could I hear you on the sideband. I wish I could hear you on the AM side. SWL 99, Radio Randy, who joined us last week. Probably someone is going to remind him and says, you know what, they're doing that OTR thing. You should get over there. No skip tonight, or else we'd probably hear Randy direct. Talking about 100 watts and a star duster. We will make it come true. Our purveyor, our activator of tubes on the air. Let's see if the Echo link is working or not. My internet was really awful. I was checking the Echo link earlier and it wasn't working too well. We'll see if Tony can get through. KDB, I can do this right. KD4BAO, KB6GFD over. I knew I could get this right.
Good evening. Please check in SWL100. Net control KD4BAO.
All right, you are working fine. I still have, I always have some Echo Link issues. I wonder if I need to. I've never updated that program. Maybe I need to do some updating. You are sounding good, ready to do the tube activation coming up. I'll let you get to that. Thanks for joining us on the old Tube Radio Network, KB6GFD. All right, well, I didn't manage to mess up the Echo Link and all my plugging and patching cables to get this thing to work. Let's go to SWL 102. None other than John out there in Arkansas. And he's checking in, of course. In attendance, present, what do they say? Present and accounted for, X in the square. Over to SWL 103, and Joey was checking in. He's been busy today. Did make some CB Channel 30 roll call. Prayer request, upstate South Carolina. Have a good evening. All right, Joey, thanks. SWL 103 out there in South Carolina with a busy day and a busy evening on the radio. And I've likewise had a busy day and probably going to have another one tomorrow. But you got to do that. I mean, if you're not busy, then you're doing something wrong, right? Okay, I was told that I need to get a proxy in for this guy, SWL 109, Mr. Crawdad, who was out and about last night, Friday night in the Ditchbanks sideband net. That's what happens when you are a young, good-looking guy on Friday and Saturday nights. You are probably in demand to sign autographs and do all those things that one would do at those times. So sometimes radio falls by the wayside, but that's okay. We'll get Mr. Crawdad checked in. Let's go to SWL 110. SWL 111, Robert checked in earlier on oldtuberadio.net. What did Robert have to say? He said, hello, checking in 73. All right, good enough. SWL 113, we got a proxy check-in for Tom, and probably no proxy necessary for this guy, SWL 114. Hello, Wayne. All right, Wayne, I think that was you, but there was no audio over. Well, I put the X in the square. If the audio comes back, come by and say hello, radio. Yeah, I got an S7 signal, a little crackly, crunchy. Here's a station that checked in at oldtuberadio.net, as he often does, is SW 128. Thanks, John, out of Fairfax, Virginia. Shortwave listener 131. SWL 133. Down the street, not too far, over toward that way, SWL 135.
I guess his radio's not working, so I'll check him in.
Okay, I don't recall if I heard him earlier today, because I got in late. So usually we have a little test pre-radio test. So I will get Cliff checked in, and if it comes back, we'll get it checked in. SWL 137.
Okay, I thought I heard somebody key up. Hey, Cliff, if that's you, key up now.
It was me.
Okay, that's not Cliff. Alrighty. Thank you, Dennis. I'll check in later.
Dumper. Okay, that's a good thing, because we will be here later, as well as sooner, and as well as now. And I've also got the crossband, if he's up on the crossband. We can hear him there. 145, Tony checked in, speaking of the crossband, via the crossband a little bit earlier. Likewise, Neil, SWL 147, checked in. Okay, then we jump way up to, I wonder how the weather is affecting the big monster antenna, SWL 188. And Bobby may have it cranked. He may have things cranked down. He's got a pretty big DX setup, and I know he doesn't take chances with that when we're expecting the storm and the winds coming in. So he may have it all hunkered down, and that's a good thing. That's what he should be doing. Up in Coarsegold, where it will be cold and, it's probably clear and cold right now, SWL 195. Was that you, Jim? Over. Okay, I think that is some bleed over SWL 226. And from South Carolina, Triple X, joining us on the Old Tube Radio Network. Thanks for stopping by. We're about ready to check in with the radio, so do not go away. Anybody that I missed or would like to get checked in, don't have to be on the list to say hello, radio, OTR listening. And I will be right back. I won't change a thing, except we'll get set up for the tube radios, of which there are a few out there I know. See what we can gather tonight. If you have one that is waiting to be checked in, is not turned on, we have plenty of time for it to get warmed up, and we will get you checked in. The Old Tube Radio Network back, as they say, in moments. Don't go away. Done. I don't know why I'm so delayed on the video. But I don't know why I'm so delayed on the video.
I'm not going to do the SDR deal tonight. K6 VLF.
Copy, not a problem. Thanks for when you do it, though. All right, 70 Type 2. Over.
I'm not going to do the SDR deal tonight.
No, I just heard that. All right.
Thank you for your understanding. K6 VLF.
This is the understanding frequency. And, last night it was the misunderstanding frequency, but things have changed. KB6 GFD. All right, right, the stream's up, the things are up. And, you know, there's just no reason not to get things going. And a reminder that your radio is tuned, perhaps, to the old Tube Radio Network.
You may not find us on your TV, because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
Brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
Brought to you by RADI.
The old Tube Radio Network.
What do they say? In case you did not know. How could you possibly not know after 30-something years, 37 years of Saturday evenings that indeed, if you're tuned to 27085 on a Saturday evening, it is the old Tube Radio Network. And the reason we know that is from the preponderance, we hope, of those glow-in-the-dark radios that frequent the frequency frequently. That was written for me on the cue cards. Right here on Channel 11. I will stand by because I've been doing too much talking, and it's time for the true stars of the net, those tube radios, to take over. So I'm standing by. We are listening. Or not. And hopefully all the radios that we're warming up tonight have not malfunctioned.
Well, Dennis, you know that's the Super Bowl weekend coming up. They're probably all involved in that. SWL 60 standing by. Yeah, well, I thought I would be safe because I figured next week it would either be really busy because everyone would be home, you know, counting their peanuts and chips and soda because the game's on Sunday, you know, and we're not on that late. Go to bed early, but tonight, yeah, people are out maybe doing that last weekend thing, so they know they're not going to do it next week, or they're out shopping. They're doing early shopping. However, I have a radio number 1 on my list spot ready for you. And go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir. Dennis, well, doggone it, at $9,000 a ticket, I guess I would be doing the same thing, preparations for home. Dennis, I'd like to check in my Johnson 223. They're from Waseca, Minnesota.
Waseca, Minnesota, Edgar Frederick, I think that's what it was, Johnson, the Messenger 223. And when you come back, I'm going to adjust my receive audio. I think I may have it a little bit low. I'm looking through the Rolodex. It's probably me. I'm thinking somebody misfiled the 223, but I'm thinking, I'm the only one who uses this, so I guess I misfiled already. First, we'll start with the one that shows the mod light, and I know that you do not have the mod light, but I want to show the different flavors of the 223. A good radio. Take a transmission, over.
That's right there, Dennis. And no, we don't have the mod light. I wish I did, and I wish I knew where it would possibly be. I don't know where the model that does have it at, where it's installed. But no, this one doesn't have it. It's got a nice little setup for the meter and the selector. And I do have the automatic. No, it's not automatic. It's just the 9 react channel is red, the only one that's colored. And a couple of knobs on it on the bottom. The squelch and the volume. And the volume is the volume, and the squelch turns on. Don't try to work it as a volume. It won't work. And a great big speaker, 10 tubes, Dennis. 10 tubes and 23 channels.
And as you mentioned, built right here in the USA, Waseca, Minnesota, the Johnson factory. Good place to work, according to, we interviewed Larry, Radio Ham guy. He used to work during the 80s. Says it was a great place to work. He enjoyed that.
he mentioned that they did have some crystal problems, frequency crystal problems, but I've noticed your E.F. Johnson's, maybe the mid-'60s radios didn't have that. Maybe it was the later things before they started going synthesized or whatever they did. But channel 11-27085, there's a crystal in there for that, as well as all 23 channels. That was Johnson's first 23-channel base station from, when did they build this? From 1969 to 1972. And about that time, they started doing solid state with the smaller mobile radios, and then they came out with a version of this radio, solid state. But of course, we are partial to the ones that glow in the dark. I think you can look. Can you look down to the top of that and see the glowing tubes?
Yes, you can. You can see them out of the side, too. It's well ventilated, and that's a good thing. But I think this one is just strictly AC. I don't see anything back there for mobile use, and nothing else to really tinker with that I don't want to tinker with, even if it was. But I think it's strictly AC.
And you are correct, because they made a different version for mobile. I think they did that purposely. They wanted people to buy another radio, and they thought solid state was better. Sounding good. Foxman 362 says, that radio looks like it belongs in a 1950s diner with a Wurlitzer jukebox. I agree. Remember that some of the tables had the little buttons where you could program the jukebox, or else you would walk over, put your money in and let it do its thing. Did they ever have a restaurant where they had a table that had a CB radio you could get on? I know they couldn't put a CB radio at each table. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine them bleed over? But there you are. You're on your Messenger jukebox, the 223. It is sounding good. Were it to be 1969 and you had about $215 in your pocket, or a layaway, or whatever they did, you would be able to walk out the door with that radio with the microphone attached. You can find out more about it on Sam's photo fax number 20, book 23, page 53. And if you go to oldtuberadio.com, it says there is a Johnson Messenger 223 schematic PDF. But that one never misses a beat, so I don't think you'd ever have to take the case off. Over.
No, and I sure don't want to, because I think it got me last time I did. One time I took it out, it scratched me up pretty good. There's a lot of sharp ends on it. This one does have the original mic to the radio. It's similar to a Turner, but it's non-powered. And that'll do it for me there, Dennis. I think I've got another one warming up there.
Okay, if you get a couple of radios in, we will appreciate it. I put you down on the list. You got us started off with the E.F. Johnson Messenger 223, the classic Messenger 2, which was a 10-channel radio. They mounted it in a nice case, gave it a meter, added the extra channels and the power supply, and for 115, what do they call it, 115 volt, yeah, the 115 AC, and it was ready to go in 1970, and it's 2024, and it still sounds as good, maybe even better. That's what I think. Thanks for bringing it by. The Jingle Singers are ready to do what they always do, and we'll pick up another radio on the other side. You are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network.
How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? Greetings to you, wherever you are. For music and the latest news from home and from afar, the station for you is
OTR, Old Tube Radio. OTR.
Well, we had a bad connection there or something. Or did somebody step on the cable and kink it? I don't know. All right, we are back and listening for radio number 2. And JT listening in, I enjoyed the radio tonight. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to jump in during the standard runtime of Old Radio Night tonight, but that is, I always forget, JT has a very, very big collection. I wish that we were closer, or that we could hear all his radios direct. here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Because he would we'd definitely have a whole page of radios filled up, even if we checked in a couple each week from his collection. So always check out Old Radio Night to see the radios from the other side. We see them as a listener, as a shortwave listener, and we hear them. But when you go over to Old Radio Night, you're on the transmitting end. You are right there at the microphone, at the S meter, at the radio controls. And you see it from the other end, and you can hear the signals coming in, so pretty cool. The Old Tube Radio Network, we are listening for radio number 2. Everybody's waiting for that storm coming in tomorrow. And Chris, we always thought about that. There are some radios like the Robin, the T123, or the 240D, I think, and the Pierce Simpson Guardian 23. They run really hot. The cases don't have ventilation, like the mesh ventilation. We always thought, well, if we took, I don't know, some carrots and potatoes and whatever, and wrapped them in some nice heavy-duty aluminum foil in the beginning of the net, you kind of take off the cover, put them in there, nice and sealed, and put it back on the cover. If by the end of the net in a couple of hours, if you wouldn't be able to just open that thing up and pop open the foil and have a nice little potato and carrot cooked dinner. Maybe you could throw a couple of steak slices in there as well. I mean, kind of probably medium rare, but maybe dual purpose on the tube radio. But I think you're going to have the right radio to do that. OTR, we are standing by.
We'll give this one a shot and see if she'll key up properly for me. I'd like to check in another radio.
All right, we'll do that. I heard it warming up. I heard it slowly coming up to steam. And does that like a pop-up timer like the turkey? Is the little pop-up thing showing your radio is done, ready to go? I will, the Rolodex is still open to E.F. Johnson, so go ahead and take a transmission. I will pull up the TWO over.
Yeah, thank you. I would like to see a light on here that would reach its peak where a guy could key up. That would be interesting. But I'd like to check in my Johnson TOO 10 channels. I think it's 10 tubes, and this one is 10 channels. I think you mentioned the other one being 10 channels also. I think the other one was 23. This one is 10 for sure.
Yeah, they took this very radio that you're on. This is a 223. Probably very close to the insides of a 223, but they turned it around in the case, added all the crystal controls, so you didn't have to do the VFO dial, put the S meter in there. But I haven't had anyone really scour the schematics, but I bet very, very close to that. They might have beefed up the AGC or the AVC a little bit. Of course, they gave it that great classic radio-looking case. It's one of those radios that's not too utility, and they didn't put the wood on the sides. It's exactly when you think old tube radio, think, that looks like something from the 1960s. TWO is their radio here. This was produced up to probably early 60s to 1969, 68 or so when the 223 came in. I don't know if you could buy them concurrently or not. I think this is definitely, the 223 definitely replaced this. There is a schematic, Johnson Messenger 2, Sam CB5. Yeah, see, this is in CB5. I think the other one was in 20-something. This will run 12-volt DC or 115-volt AC, depending on which model you have. 10 channels with a 23-channel tunable receiver, and indeed it's on channel 11 if you can hear me over.
Oh, we've got a good copy on you. In fact, listening to you, I was noticing the top. I'm right over the top of the radio, and it looks like the city of Chicago. With all the buildings, the way they stand up in Chicago, looking down at the tubes here, you can practically see through this case. And it's putting out pretty good heat. Nice radio, Dennis. Doggone it, sharp little rascal. In fact, yeah, I would almost say I got a pair of twins here, but, you know, sometimes the twins don't always look alike. Well, the TOO is in a category of its own there. A good-looking radio, Dennis. Back to you.
It is. Now, what is that? Somebody marked a toaster. Maybe you could toast some bread on that. I think these ran pretty cool. I think the tubes weren't packed in, and plus it has that mesh top. You know, it's got some great convection cooling, airflow from the sides and the back. And E.F. Johnson, they knew what they was doing. Sounding good, and I gave you an S-meter report on the video if you ever want to go up there and watch the replay. Sounding good in the balcony, according to the Squamish boys up there in BC. And our new station joining us, Germantown, Wisconsin. Chicago, Illinois. Here we are on the West Coast. Central California, where it's coming up on 10 o'clock. It's still Saturday evening, and we are doing the Saturday evening thing, the Old Tube Radio Network. Joe is transmitting on his E.F. Johnson Messenger TWO. Radio originally from the mid-1960s and sounding good. Take one more transmission before you go. We've got a lot of listeners.
Okay, Dennis. Doggone it, I appreciate it. The Squamish boys up there, doggone it, I was thinking about them today. I'm glad that they approve of the old TOO. I kind of like it myself. Okay, Dennis, I've got another one warming up, and I think it's about reached its peak. And I'll kind of put this one back on the quiet side a little bit, and maybe let somebody else jump in there while I kind of change the coax.
All right, sounding good. Right now, the E.F. Johnsons, the company from 100 years ago, 101 years coming up. They are the most heard radio 100 years later. That's got to tell you something. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Dennis.
And who is joining us? Big Rich 6520. Looking good. Coming down through the balcony. Come on down and grab something to drink. Grab some food. Join the Jingle Singers, won't you? Yeah, in fact, the Jingle Singers are coming up now. Your Old Tube Radio Network, real radios glowing in the dark.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, your favorite spot on the dial by far is known to you as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
The station for you and maybe even you, the Old Tube Radio Network. Since the mid-1980s, doing what we do best, and that's listening for your classic radio to drive around the block and take a transmission and tell us about it. OTR standing by. Yeah, they're taking bets that our next radio might be very blue. And I would say, I don't know what the odds, 2-1? The odds are pretty good that could be the case.
Well, it looks like someone got the prize in. Dennis, I'd like to check in. I almost look at it sometimes. I feel a skosh a bit lonely for the rascal. Should call it the Lonely Boy, but originally it's called the Hustler. From World Radio Labs, Dennis, I'd like to check in my Hustler radio.
WRL, Leo Meyerson and the gang, and let's see if we can wave the magic wand and make the blue radio appear. This could be possibly the only place that one could hear the WRL Hustler. There are pictures. This is not the picture of your set, but a picture off the internet. But can you go somewhere and hear that and find someone transmitting on it? I don't think so, unless, of course, you are here on the Old Tube Radio Network on a Saturday evening when it does it have its own special radio shelf with a little doily underneath and maybe a little flower arrangement next to it? Over.
Well, not quite. It's got a few friends around hanging close to it. There are a few other little walkie-talkies and microphones up here with it, but yeah, I kind of feel the same way, Dennis. Doggone it, this may be the Ghost CV of radios. I always enjoy keying it up. It's such a how should I say, a masculine radio for being 7 tubes and 8 channels.
And speaking of cooking, and Chrissy 00 might take note of this. It's like a dual range. Notice you've got the cooking on the left side and the right side with the holes. You know, you can put your foil, your potatoes and meat or whatever, and then in the middle it's like it's a griddle. It's like an old O'Keefe and Merritt range. Then you've got the middle. Maybe you can make a very small pancake. Don't pour too much batter on that thing. Over.
Well, I'll tell you what, I might have to put a couple of ice cream sticks along the sides there because, yeah, let it run out. If the batter's too thin, it can run back. Otherwise, you know where it would go, for sure. Anyway, she's full dressed. It's almost as if you pulled it out from under the dash of an old 59 Ford, maybe sedan. Good steel dash. She's all dressed up, got her hardware, except for the fact that I wouldn't be using the desk mic, which it's on right now. This is a Turner Plus 2. I would be using its pretty blue mic, stock mic that came with it. It has its hardware, it has this mic hanger, and where you can bolt it up. And of course, now that she's got her mic outlet here in the front, where Harvey put it, because this was one of those that had the wire coming out from underneath, or from the back probably, and Harvey installed it here in the front for easy hookup. It's got a little meter. It's about a 2x2, possibly, meter in the center, and works fine too. And 4 dials. Of course, I've got the crystal socket there in case one of these days I get Harvey to drop 11 on that, and I wouldn't have to mess too much with the dials.
And I was just thinking, the radio probably already had channel 11. That's one of the reasons we picked channel 11. It was a popular frequency. It was, in theory, for the older radios back in the day, a call channel. So a lot of, if you were going to have a non-23 channel radio, the likelihood that channel 11 would be one of those crystals, whether it was just a single channel or 8-channel radio like this one, the likelihood that channel 11 would be in there somewhere is always pretty good. And we usually don't have to worry about someone got a radio and it's like, it doesn't have channel 11. Usually always has channel 11, like this one. This one does. The blue radio looking good. Yeah, put that in your 1959, what was it, a Skyliner? A Sunliner with the hard top, was it a hard top convertible? I don't know where you would put the antenna. You've got to be careful so that the top isn't crashing into the antenna. But it's ready to go. World Radio Labs, they have a great history. Another company that was around, I think, since the early 50s. doing radio things and amateur radio gear, and they tried their hands at 11 meters, and they did good. They figured out how to make 7 tubes work the world and then stay around to the 21st century and be featured on the Old Tube Radio Network. Thanks to you. Over to you for a transmission, and thanks for radio number 3. Over.
Thank you, Dennis. Doggone, it's a pleasure. Pleasure keying this one up, and the more I look at it, the more I like it there for sure. Okay, Dennis, I'm going to be on the listening end there, and I appreciate it. Good on the net there.
All right, thanks for that. I'm just checking the notes here. It says jingle singers could be ready yet again. Nice thing about the jingle singers, it gets a little slow. They are always willing and ready to step up and add a little bit of promotional ditties to help us get some more radios. We'll be back in a second.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you, wherever you are. The friendliest station for you by far is known to all as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
I know I've got the DX map around here somewhere. I'm going to pull that up. See if there's any chance that we have Skipland coming in. No, it's nowhere do I see anybody making contacts. Have to see. Maybe when it starts warming up, we'll get some of the evening skip. And this map is looking for, I think, the maximum usable frequency from 28 megahertz and up, although it will show other items as well. I know there's a couple of stations that are ready, willing, and able to jump in and say hello. We are standing by and listening for radio number 4, over. Here's a picture. We're talking about Browning Laboratories and E.F. Johnson. There is, and I think they said it was from 1969, but I think it's more like 1962. That is the gang, the crew at Browning Laboratories having a Christmas party. That is the way most small or medium-sized businesses were back in the 1960s. You had a Christmas party for all the employees. It wasn't kind of a giant corporate-owned thing, so it's like, oh, well, whatever. But you were a crew. You were a family. There's the people, if you've got a Browning radio, somebody in that room, like a Mark II or an R2700A or 23S9, somebody in that room probably QC'd it and did some work on it. what does it say? Thanks for the memories. In the Christmas photo, so this is Gar Green, I think. Yeah, this is Gar Green talking. In the Christmas photo, my father is in the white shirt and tie left of the tree. So he's way in the back there, okay. And Art Winslow, chief engineer. They had a chief engineer. Somebody said, yeah, that is a Browning. It sounds like a Browning. It can go. Art Winslow is furthest back in the center. And I'm in the black framed glasses near the middle. There's Santa Clauses in there. This was Christmas in 1962, Browning's 25th anniversary. Each person is holding a small canvas bag which contains their Christmas bonus in silver dollars. Now, isn't that classy? For the 25th anniversary, a picture worth 1,000 words. Santa is Charlie Charlton, VP of Production. From Browning Laboratories, pleased to make some very fine radios, and we are glad to keep them on the air in the Old Tube Radio Network. And featured radio this week, Don Montgomery with his beautiful-looking Robin T240D, the 40-channel version from 1976 and later when the FCC said, yeah, it's got to be 40-channel. You can no longer sell the 23 channels. The Yellow Bird. We get a few of those checking in now and again. And the good plate modulated radio and the range expand is on. OTR listening. All right, well, here we go. Let me bring this one up. The Courier 1M is apropos because that is the radio that JT was on tonight. And there it is. It is installed into the metal dash. Anybody recognize that dashboard? I bet some of you do. You might think, wait a minute, that's a GM. Yeah, that's according to the picture, 1961 Chevrolet, the Courier 1M. Is the radio. Larry Cohen is a 61 Impala with Courier 1M. Not a great picture, but that's what he's got. Yeah, it's probably Technicolor, Kodachrome. Maybe that's one of those Instamatic cameras. But that is the way it was back in the day. It's like you had room for the passenger, fine, but you got to get that radio mounted. Perfect for the mobile front fire speaker. The microphone's right there. We don't know what antenna that Larry was using, but looks pretty darn good. The Old Tube Radio Network listening. At the three-quarter hour, the Singers of Jingle, I think that's how you say it, are doing their thing.
You're listening in the latest style.
27.085 megahertz. Channel 11, Old Tube Radio.
In wonderful
Fresno, California.
Did somebody say wonderful, Fresno? We're standing by for Radio 4. 60 Hello Radio from the Old Tube Radio Network.
Thank you much, sir. Dennis, I'd like to check in my Robin 123B. I'm on a stock microphone, Dennis. I've turned this one on for the first time there. I heard you were loud and clear. Of course, it's still warming up. This one here has that automatic instant. I wish I would have had left it on there. We're just now starting to warm it up a little bit. I hope everything is okay on your end. You hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you great. You've got very loud audio. Put the Orban meter up. We can compare it to some of the other radios, the E.F. Johnsons. We were looking at Yellowbird, the 240D. This is the radio prior to that, from 1972 to 1976, and I'm sure they would have just kept making them had there not been a change in what the FCC wanted to do, the green radio. Some of them get modified, some of them don't. Back to you for a transmission. Is set up well, over.
Thank you much, sir, Dennis. Doggone it, I am glad to hear that. I know it's been a while since I've keyed it up. This one, Dennis, is my pretty green radio. A lot of good features on it. And right now, the range expand is on. And we are on channel 11. And this has for external speaker, it has a switch for external speaker, a button for external speaker, and a button for a PA. Each have a light, and they both work. There are features on the back of this. There's a meter adjustment. I think this one here also has so you can put your headphones on it. And there's a couple of more little things back there, I guess, so you can adjust the output wattage. It does have a modulation light, not a really bright one. It does have a volume, a squelch, and that is a pool squelch for tone level, a fine tune, and RF gain. I think this one is 11 tubes, 23 channels, and modified partly for sideband.
Wow. Well, you're double sideband right now. You got an upper and a lower sideband going on. Of course, there's a little bit of AM carrier in there. I found the shot that has the box and the microphone that came with it, which you're talking about. It's not a very big microphone, not compared to like the microphones that this came with the sonars. Could be why it doesn't have a lot of low frequency, but it's loud. It's putting in good signal on the Orban meter, and it's getting good reviews from the listeners. Robin International Incorporated, the T123B, according to the box, established internationally for fine communications, the looks and performance of tomorrow by the designers and engineers of today. Well, they weren't kidding about tomorrow, because tomorrow is right now, over.
Well, yeah, you're right about that. And that's exactly what this one is doing right now on the broadcasting end. And I'm glad the listeners are appreciating it. And Christy, if she's out there, I would like to throw at Christy that the Robin 123B is swinging at her.
When you keyed up, or is it keyed down, on the Browning 00, Chrissy was the first one to come on the comment page and say, yes, we've got the green radio. So, and it says, Joe, you are my hero. It says, she typed it right in there, over.
Oh boy, that's good to hear. That's good to hear there, Dennis. Doggone it. Now, there are a couple of micro switches on this radio right below the writing. Let me shed a little light on this. Right below the writing where it says Robin 123 channel, on the top, there are a couple of micro switches. Right now, the first one is on a down position, and the second one is in an up position. And that would put me on the AM. If I put up the first one and put down the second one, then I've got 10 extra channels on there.
Yeah, Harvey told me there's a way to modify on those early, I guess, I don't know if it's a PLL or it might have been the chip. to actually do that. Get yourself up into the other channels. 16 was the sideband channel, as you know, for when there was 23 channels. 16 was where you went. But a lot of sideband radios came up and found a way to go above 23 and use 22 and 22A, which turned out to be channel 24 and 25. And that is why, see, this radio, 23 channel, but that is why that this radio stopped being produced, because the FCC says, all right, you're already here, but let us figure out where the channels are supposed to be. Let's make it, official that this is 26, 27 and get a band plan, and then make it so that you have to buy our 40 channel radios. We don't want you making them up. We still want you to be crystal controlled. So anyway, where there's a will, there's a way. The deluxe Panasonic second chassis pretty much is the Robin radio. There was a couple other ones, but you've got more lights, more little switches and knobs, fine tuning, and it's got the RF gain than the other ones. Plus, it's got the range expand. It is sounding good, and it is great on our collection tonight. Joe, if it wasn't for you, I would have to be reading poetry tonight. So you are sparing the SWLs that. Over.
Oh. Yeah, okay. I do like poetry. Poetry, I do like it. Some of it catches me a little bit. But it would be, we'll get into that some other time. And the idiot light on this thing is working good. The modulation light, I'm surprised. It almost looks like it's taking snapshots of me for some reason or another. Anyway, doggone it, Dennis, I'm glad that it did key up. I was going to tell you, give me a minute to warm it up, but she is, and this one is instant on. I can turn it off, and I have in the morning or at night noticed the glare of the tubes in the darkness, and I said, oh boy, I didn't turn off the radio, but this one you can leave it on. It's nice at that. Okay, Dennis, well, I appreciate it. We got the Robin checked in, and you'll be hearing more of it.
All right, very good. And who was it that made the comment? And they are right on. John, the 102, saying there's Spitfire Mark II. I think that a Mark XL, but Mark II is almost identical, except doesn't have the external speaker light. But there were a couple of them. And there was also the Canadian version, I think, like the Midnight Spets or something. Let's see. I'm going to see if I can find that. Here's the Spitfire. Do we have a picture? Yeah, we do. All right, great. Thanks, 102. I'm going to put that up there. And there you go. Same radio inside, but it's got the, it's got a mic gain. Instead of an RF, where the RF gain was, they put a mic gain. But there's and they got the big, almost like, what are those candies? The jellied candies for the lights. They made it big, and then, it's missing the other one, but it's got the PA, and it's got the range expand. But that's the 23 channel Spitfire Mark II, and that was imported to Canada from Japan. That was their version for the Canadian. They did, Canada did the same thing with the cars. You look at some of the Ford cars or GM cars, and you go up to Canada, they were just a little bit different. Like the Mercury had the Meteor, which was more Canadian. All right, very good, Joe. Thank you for radio number 4. And again, you were saving them from poetry, although Charles is saying we do have poetry. All right, well, keep that poetry book handy. It could be very, very slow next week. So prepare for some possible OTR poetry. We're standing by. Oh, jingle singers want to do their thing, and we'll be back in just a little bit.
What are the magic numbers?
27.085 megahertz, channel 11.
Are the magic letters?
OTR.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Radio Magic.
Old Tube Radio.
For you.
My turn.
Is this the my turn frequency with the Radio 5? Over.
Well, okay. My Browning Golden Beagle FR68T68 with the D104 with the Browning medallion on the back of the head of the D104. Okay. That'll do it for me. I've been working on a radio tonight, so I'm gonna get back to it for another hour, and then that's it. And don't forget to let me know what time tomorrow. Okay, Dennis?
All right. Yeah, probably, maybe similar, or maybe a little later. I don't know. Than what we did today. That radio is really loud. It's loud and clear, and all those employees, all the ladies, all the gents at Browning that celebrated. That was 62, the 25th anniversary. So this radio came out, about 4 or 5 years later. So on their 30th anniversary, I'm sure they were proud to have this radio made. Have you ever checked? Did you have you must have some classic, really nice tubes in that thing. Over.
Actually, I have in the transmitter and the receiver, whatever works. I don't have the Grey Howe special tubes. Excuse me. If this was a daily talker, and I really got on a lot, I would have those tubes. But since I do not, I just have tubes that make it work. And Grey Howe's manual is a must-have, and the tubes for someone who really, really uses the radio a lot, talks on it quite a bit, you want those tubes. But since this is maybe a once a weeker, maybe a little more, I just have what makes it work.
All right, Scott, I just wonder if you did roll some tubes in that, if we would actually be able to notice or to hear the difference, because it is so loud. All right, sounding good. Glad you were able to jump away from the bench and over to the air chair and add a Browning to the mix tonight. Our Browning fans were wondering, where's the Browning? So we've got one tonight. Let me find. I'm looking for the Browning. Here it is. Let me go to the less than stellar close-up camera. Wherever the Browning badge, the Eagle Club. I think you've got one of those. A lot of people have the Browning badge. A lot of us have, what is it, the Mud Duck badge. I don't. I'm looking for my mud. See, this is the one I'm allowed to show, and I will put it up for the screen for our viewers. That's more my style right there. That's what I get to wear. Anyway, Harvey, thank you for the radio tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Roger. The Browning badge, you mean the one with the little pin where you can pin it on, right?
Yeah, this one actually has a pin, P-I-N. Let me go back to the less than stellar camera. On the back, it has a stick pin. You got to be careful. And then it also has a little cardboard insert. I guess it's just inserted there. It would come out if you open the pin, where you could stand it up, as a display item on your radio. Over.
Roger. I actually have one for myself and several others. You've got one, and one or two other people have gotten them. I found them on eBay once, and I bought a bunch. So I'm just looking up on the shelf, and there's a box that says Browning pins. So whatever's in there, I probably will keep one for myself, and then the others will eventually kind of go with radios, I guess, when the time comes or whatever. I'll look for some more, see if I can find them, but I've only seen one listing for it, and I bought several. Okay, that'll do it for me. Just the one tonight, because I got to get back to working on a Demco satellite receiver. I'm doing the tubes. It works fairly well, but I thought, well, might as well check the tubes. And in the Demco regular satellite, along with the Samson that looks the same, they used old resistors and what you might see as newer type carbon resistors. The older ones, you can tell, you just look at them, you know, and they almost all go bad over time. I mean, Cliff's radio barely worked, and I had to change almost all of them. So anyway, I've got to go through that, and then, hey, that'll be ready to hook up with a transmitter and a speaker, and I'll probably get rid of it. Okay, because I have one already. All right, I gotta get back to working on it. One more, well, till about 11, and then I gotta turn in. Okay, I will catch you tomorrow. Thank you for the letting me do the long key down, and catch you next week.
That's how you know if your radio works well. You get on YAM and you take what we call an old buzzard transmission. And if it doesn't catch on fire, then you are doing good. Especially with the Browning tubes, Wagon Master, 390 Wagon Master. There were a lot of little extra goodies with Browning. The books of matches, I've seen them. I don't think I have them. I thought I did. I don't. Salesman necktie, the salesman necktie, the Browning warranted card. They have a Browning mug. I don't know if it was an aftermarket thing. I'm thinking that might not have been one of the official items, but I have the Browning mug. I should bring it out. I just don't want to break it. I didn't want to have it sitting on the table here and break it. And then the Browning pins as well. All right. Well, Dwayne was saying, I wonder where were all the Brownings? So we got the Browning night. Thank you, Harvey. It is sounding good. Continue with the back to the workbench. And the speaking of going to the workbench, it's jingle singer time, and I've got some counting and amounting to do.
Let's do some spelling.
OTR. 27.085 megahertz. Channel 11, Old Tube Radio. Old Tube Radio.
Also, the Browning ties were brown, obviously with the gold eagles on them, but they also made them, I think, in blue. In fact, I do believe I might have a blue one. I've got the brown one, and then they made blue also. They have all kinds of things, little tie tacks. You're right about the matches and all that. And then they also had the station cards that you slipped in to the little holder on the transmitter on the earlier transmitters that Browning made. And it was a peel off and stick, or you could just slide it in without peeling the back off. It was a station card, and Browning had stamped on it Browning Laboratories. And I got a bunch of them. So if I sell a Browning, I'll probably include one of those cards with it, because I got a bunch. Okay, we'll see ya. And they're original. Bye.
All right, and there's the Browning matches, bringing people together. The world's most respected name sits in 2 Weeks Radio, and that's at the Case Open, and they are on eBay, and I'm not even going to tell you the price. Someone is trying to make a buck on those Browning matches. Looks like they were never, at least they're all there. Maybe that's a plus, but that's the original Browning Eagle thing. All right, OTR is counting and amounting, and we will be back shortly. And any last call for check-ins, shortwave listeners, comments,
You're tuned to
OTR. Channel 11.
right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us
Old Tube Radio.
and be modern.
You know what? Before I read the list, let me jump up to the satellite receiver. I know it's a bit frozen up that way, and see if it's still there. It was there earlier. You know what? I think it's actually offline. Wait a minute. It was in earlier, but sometimes that happens. They lose internet connections. Yeah, you know what? Nope. It just came back, I think. Yeah, okay, it came back. There we go. We're going to bring up the satellite beaconing over Squamish. There's the audio. Nice volume tonight. We'll kick it to 27085. There's going to be a little bit of delay. But what I'll do, we'll bring it up. There it is. Bring it up.
Good evening, Dennis. 428 checking in my President Madison there. Thank you for doing this. 428 and the Squamish boys waving a hand to everybody out there. 73's Dennis. I'll pass it back to net control. Take care.
All right, 428 on the President Madison. Look at that audio. Look at that nice 1, 2, 3, 3.5, 7K wide audio. Good mid-range, good low frequency. Somebody came in there, but I didn't catch the audio on that one.
Hey, 111, is that you in there?
Might be the 111.
I can hear you, dude. I can hear you. You're doing about 5-6 pounds anyway. We're on the feed there. Wave a hand to OTR.
Yeah, triple zero is a little bit weak into our receiver. Oh, wow, not bad on the indoor dipole. That was better transmission. All right, well, the indoor dipole doing good there. And, of course, 428 always a nice loud signal. 5 watts on the indoor dipole. That's all you need is a little bit of wire and get on the air. Don't have to have things way up high. All right, let's do, where are the jingle singers? We'll do some counting and amounting here.
Ladies and gentlemen, time now for the current OTR totals.
All right, well, that is a fanfare and a half. The current and final totals here tonight. New eight-week roster. If you're playing the home game, make sure that you go to page 1 where it says 00. There'll be a blank line. You will write in SWL10. Chrissy, who is, she has done this before as 00. So she greets you at the door. Make sure you've got your microphone plugged in correctly, that you're on channel 11, and you're good to go. And that is the way to do it. Tonight we had, if I can find all my notes, we had 19 check-ins on page 1, 20 on 2, 20 on 3, 22 on 4 for a total of 81. And we had 5 radios, not bad. I thought we would do a little bit better. I'm just wondering what's going to happen next week. Could be busy, could be not. They're saying they'll have the poetry ready, so stand by for that. Most heard manufacturer tonight, E.F. Johnson. Hasn't happened in a while. Thank you, Joe, for going overtime and working, what do they say, working the room, changing the coax, flipping the switch to keep us on here tonight. Radio number 1, the E.F. Johnson Messenger 223, similar to the one you see behind my left shoulder here. Nice looking radio. The 223 from the late 60s to early 70s from E.F. Johnson. Prior to that was their Messenger TWO, base mobile, 6 volt, 12 volt, depending on what you wanted. We had one of those check in as well. Thanks, Joe, for that. That put the Johnsons over the top. World Radio Labs, the Hustler, the blue radio. Joe couldn't resist, and we're glad you couldn't, Joe, because that's a fan favorite. And then he topped it off with the Robin T123B for radio number 4. As always, the Browning Golden Beagle to wrap things up with Radio 5, the R68 T68, the model before the Mark II, the official Mark II, and the model after the first Browning Eagle, the first Browning that had the Eagle moniker, the original Golden Eagle, Mark none, the Mark I. So, do some skip. It's pretty decent. Like the station we just heard, sometimes all you're going to need is 5 watts and a clear channel. You might be able to do something that way. It is, according to the FCC, okay to talk to stations that are over 150 miles away, as long as you keep that 5 watts crystal controlled or whatever you do. I forgot to check out the FM. I think there's some down at 26805, and there's probably some other channels that I don't know what through 1 through 24, if there's some designated channels where you might find more or less AM. So look for that. If you are studying to get your ham radio license, keep it up. The bands are great. Again, you only need 5 watts and a wire to talk around the world. And if you're maybe expanding the ticket from the technician to the general or above, there's a lot of frequencies and a lot of good stuff. I look forward to talking to you somewhere. 73, everybody. The Old Tube Radio Network will be back again next week.
Good night, Dennis, and thanks.
Hey, thanks, Joe. Thanks, Joe, for the extra effort tonight.
Okay, Dennis, good show. Catch you tomorrow.
Roger, over.
Or as I've heard lately, bueno. Hey, Joe.
All right, everybody, it's been a long day, and I got another one tomorrow, so I'm going to sign off and let everybody do their thing. And nothing broke tonight. That's nice.
What was that?
Wait a minute. This is turning into the whisper frequency, KB6GFD.
Oh, I couldn't tell if that was you. I'm just getting into the radio lounge. I didn't know if your left meters was off.
You know what? Is it officially off of like a minute ago?
Oh, shucks. Okay, well, hello and good evening anyways. Hope everything went well tonight. I was at the Philharmonic concert and forgot to send off an email requesting a proxy check-in, but that's okay. That's good to hear your voice in the FMO, excuse me.
All right, well, I get you checked in because I still got the list here, and I think the tube is still up, so people might be hearing us. Yeah, I talked to, or I heard John the other night. I mean, he may have been coming back from a practice or something. He said it was a long one.
Hey, Mike?
Yeah.
That was Phil.
That's pretty good. I don't think there is anyone by the name was in the orchestra he was playing tonight, and it was a long one. I'm not exactly sure what you're referring to, but it was Mahler's Fourth, and that's a pretty long sucker. I think it's almost an hour long, just
B6 OTR.
Yeah, they may have been rehearsed. Do they rehearse? He might have been doing a rehearsal. It was a couple of nights ago. I heard him coming back in late. He was saying the same thing. He says, boy, it took we were a long time doing that.
Mike? How was Mahler's first, second, and third?
Well, I'm trying to think of if I come to think. Those aren't my favorites. Actually, Mahler's Fifth is the